In the Persian Empire, a young Jewish woman named Esther had become queen, though her identity as a Jew was a secret. Her cousin Mordecai had raised her and continued to guide her. One day, Mordecai uncovered a terrible plot. Haman, a high-ranking official, had convinced King Xerxes to issue a decree to destroy all the Jews in the empire. Haman's hatred for the Jews stemmed from Mordecai's refusal to bow to him, and now Haman sought revenge on an entire people. Mordecai sent word to Esther, urging her to speak to the king and plead for her people. But approaching the king uninvited was dangerous. Anyone who did so risked death, unless the king extended his golden scepter. Esther was afraid, but also knew what was at stake. Mordecai's words gave her courage. Who knows? Perhaps you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. Esther asked all the Jews to fast and pray for 3 days, and she prepared herself to approach the king, saying, "If I perish, I perish." After the 3 days, Esther went to the king. When he saw her, he extended the golden scepter, sparing her life. Esther invited the king and Haman to a banquet she had prepared. At the banquet, the king asked her what she wanted, promising to grant her request, even up to half his kingdom. Esther asked them to return the next day for another banquet, where she would reveal her request. That night, Haman was filled with pride over being invited to dine with the king and queen, but his hatred for Mordecai festered. He built a massive gallows, intending to have Mordecai hanged on it. Meanwhile, the king had trouble sleeping and ordered the royal records to be read to him. He discovered that Mordecai had once saved his life by uncovering an assassination plot, but had never been rewarded. The next morning, the king asked Haman how to honor a man the king delights in. Thinking the king meant him, Haman suggested a grand parade with royal robes and a horse. To his shock, the king ordered Haman to honor Mordecai in this way. At the second banquet, the king again asked Esther what she wanted. This time, she revealed everything. "If I have found favor with you, O king, spare my life and the lives of my people. We have been sold to be destroyed, killed, and annihilated." The king was outraged and asked, "Who is he? And where is the man who has dared to do such a thing?" Esther pointed to Haman and said, "The adversary and enemy is this vile Haman," was terrified. The king, furious, left the room. Haman begged Esther for his life, but when the king returned and saw Haman near Esther, he interpreted it as an attack on the queen. Haman was taken away and hanged on the very gallows he had prepared for Mordecai. The king issued a new decree, allowing the Jews to defend themselves against their enemies. The people were saved, and Mordecai was elevated to a position of honor. Esther's bravery and faith remind us that one person's courage can change the course of history. She stepped into danger for the sake of others, and through her obedience and God's providence, an entire nation was saved.